Okay, Travis Wayne Goodsell. I had done a video on Mormon sex ed. It was too long, so I gave up on it. But then realized, I could do two birds with one stone. I could do a sex ed video, Mormon sex ed video series, and include this introduction into my corrected Mormonism. So, yeah, we'll do that. So, let me get back to the attack. Okay. So in Genesis, it is not good for man to be alone. And so God creates a woman, and the very first commandment is, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife. The Hebrew word there is referring to sexual union. And they shall be one flesh. Sex. That's how you have babies. And so that's the first commandment given to mankind. So he's president now, but Elder Oaks told us back in the day that the first and great commandment is obedience. No, it's not obedience. That's under Lucifer's laws. Anyway, that's a different story. We're talking about sex ed. So, right off the bat, Heavenly Father's plan is sex. Do you understand that? Now, is it something that we should be ashamed of and that we should do it all in secret and in private? Well, let's see what God had to do with it. Verse 25, and they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Interesting. Well, obviously it means they have to be married before they can expose themselves to each other, right? We have lawsuits going on here in the state of Utah where a mother is being accused of exploiting herself, exposing herself to her children within her home. And so because of that, she must be thrown in prison and put on the sex offender registry. That's how Mormons of today view nudity of women, especially, that it is a sin. And they, instead of calling it a sin, because the government has to be separate from religion, it's therefore called lewdness. What it is body shaming. And if we were to be properly educated as children, none of this would have happened. And thus why I have a whole series of my childhood traumas for a Mormon sex ed video series. So this is the corrected doctrine, Mormons. We're not supposed to be paranoid about our bodies. We're not supposed to be paranoid about having sex. There are reasons why women want to have it under the covers, in the dark, and wearing garments still. But get over it, guys. Relax. Take a chill pill. Because when you introduce false principles, you mess up the truth. God's not ashamed. He created our bodies after His image. And our children are after our image. That's not supposed to be something to be ashamed of. And yet we've turned it into a shame and a crime and a sin and paranoia and so that is the actual doctrine, Mormons, is that all this nonsense about having to wear full garments that cover up our neck and down to our wrists and down to our toes, that wasn't God's way. Never was. When you get to the scriptures in the Gospels about adultery and lusting, and therefore committing adultery, notice the word woman. Woman. Lusting after a woman. A woman caught in adultery. There's a difference between the definition of a woman versus the definition of a virgin or maiden. And that difference has to do with whether a woman has had children. If she's had children, she's now a woman. If she hasn't had children, she's still a virgin. And so Mary, the mother of Jesus, she's no longer a virgin, guys. She was in the beginning before she got pregnant and had a child. Once she had the child, she was now a woman. Jesus himself calls her woman. Calls his mother woman. And most feminists of today are offended. How dare he? That's atrocious. That's horrible to call us a woman. It has to do with having had a kid. Don't attach today's wrong morality to the scriptures.